This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? Thank you. We're not exactly deserved it, but we'll take it anyway. But moving on, you'll see John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, getting his hair done in Brazil. He's the inventor of words. Mike Friday, the world-renowned sevens coach, and George Hook, all joining to address what's on this week's slate, and it's a good one, so let's get to it. Guys, 18 and 17 and 5, because we had ties, and we all registered a tie with that Seattle versus New England match. It was a 3-point spread, 27-24 final, but we have history, TRO history being made because Gift, you also picked that match as your game of the week. So for the first time in the history of this show, we have somebody with 2 ties. And that is you, Gift. Do we flog you or fet you?
I make sure to not lose people money, all right? That's the name of the game. That's what we're trying to do in this economy. Just don't lose them the money.
Bam! I think the aim is to win them the money. And thankfully, to that end, we had the greatness of Coach Mike Friday, who was well over 500, covering for the rest of us that was subpar. Congratulations, Mike Friday.
Thank you very much. I'm disappointed with the Italians. They let me down. Jokers at the end, playing too much rugby.
At death, no less. It killed all of us. John, I know that you got another gig that you got to get to, so we're going to go right through this show. We're going to fly through it. Observations. John, why don't you go first?
It's a 30-minute show no matter what. Why are you saying we're flying through it? So people are going, oh, the show's going to be 8 minutes today.
We've already slowed it down.
No, it's going to be 30 minutes as always, you dummy. Some things in Major League Rugby you didn't know. I mean, I thought Anthem sucked. Turns out they probably don't. They've been looked pretty good the last 2 weeks. Certainly they've scored a lot. Utah, I thought they scored 100 points first 2 games. Couldn't score against Houston. Houston looks like they're a really solid team. I thought Utah was probably one of the 2 best teams. You got to put Houston certainly in that. There's a lot of unknowns right now in Major League Rugby. Chicago looked fantastic. And I thought, as always, look at me, I'm Ireland. I'm in a championship game.
You're so cliche. You're so typical. You're so predictable. And he's not wearing pants either, ladies and gentlemen. You gonna be okay?
I admit Ireland choked again.
Ireland choked, but they got hammered. They weren't even in the match. They were in the match for a half, and then they did it without Dupont. The French did. Unbelievable. Gift, while you're getting coiffed there, what do you got for us?
All right, man. We're getting these twists by the best in the business. All right, you better put the respect on it. Put some respect on it.
Respect. 2 cents rugby knows what Gift's getting.
Exactly. Look, man, this was a revenge tour. I said Seattle was going to take their revenge on New England from last year's championship loss, and New England is just getting put through the ringer. Yeah, it was a close game, but it was put through the ringer. They were put, and this is going to be a long season for them. Also, the Blues and Super Rugby Pacific. I said they were this year's 2024 Crusaders. They are proving to be that fully and totally. All right, completely lost. I don't know what's going on in New Zealand or whatever, but they're just seemingly like crashing one team at a time. All right, I think the aura of Mecca of rugby has slowly, fragmented away for them.
You were absolutely right about the Blues being the Crusaders this year. They had a tough loss against the Brumbies at home. Mike,
he knows he's right. He's the king. He's in a Bob Marley poster behind him. Of course he knows he's right. He didn't need your validation, you dummy.
John's mic has been muted as we move on to Mike to get Mike's observation. Go ahead, Mike.
Man, let's just look at that French team without Dupont. I mean, the first 10 minutes the Irish put up a battle. Defensively, fantastic, and the French got nowhere. But Dupont goes off and they just ripped them apart. Prendergast, tough for the young man, but I thought the French again were formidable. Like unleashing that bench, it doesn't look good for Scotland this week, who again crumbled second half. Really, they should have done the job on Wales quite convincingly. But yeah, France impressive. I mean, just go back to that England game where they fluffed about 40 points before the half time. They really should be going for a Grand Slam, but they're impressive even without Dupont. Yeah, watch out, the world.
Should Crowley be starting over Prendergast for Ireland?
I don't think long term. I think Prendergast is the man. I mean, let's not forget he's 21 years old. He's been put out there in a big game against France, and France are hurt and battered, and he's been found wanting. But he's 21. Wilkinson got turned over 78-0 against Australia on his first couple of tests. It bodes well. I think Prendergast is the long-term solution for sure. I think this week against Italy, it'd be madness not to play Prendergast again.
All right. Well, I got a couple of observations real fast, John, because I know you got to go, John.
Yeah, because the show's not going to be 30 minutes, so you guys get ready because turn it off.
Second consecutive match, LA gave away the game to 2 yellow cards to a player in the second half. That turns into a red, and that absolutely killed LA, who could have beaten San Diego like they could have beaten Houston, except for that. So watch LA in the second half of the season. I think they're going to come back strong. And also, how about the Fijian Drua and Moana Pasifika, each winning, and both now have more points than the Blues and the Hurricanes. And the Drua did it by stunning the top of the table Chiefs, while Moana Pasifika shocked the Hurricanes. Unbelievable results in Super Rugby. Gift, does the King's Hand want to weigh in on any of this?
I mean, look, there shouldn't be any surprise. I think we've started to see there's a slow ascent now that the Fijians have funding to be able to do 15. I've been able to now actually get paid to do it. And of course, they were already going to be talented in it because rugby is part of their blood. It's not just in it, it's literally part of their blood. So, like, I'm not surprised that we're starting to see the rise of the Drua coming through. Now, Moana Pasifika, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little surprised. Tonga's always been very
Artie Surveyor's down there.
This is also very true. That is a game changer there. That is the South Pacific version of Antoine Dupont, except for he wins when it matters. Almost most of the time. So
I don't even know what that means.
Dupont's got a 95% winning record as a captain. He can play that kid. Don't be going South African on us now, Gift.
Everybody has their weakness. I am stoked that the Fijians are finally doing it and doing it on the road. That's the big deal. On the road.
I'll tell you what a big deal is. A big deal is our next segment, Player of the Week, and the nominees are Blair Kinghorn of Scotland. The number 15 was steady under kicks and strategic with his own, lending his Toulouse calm and class to Scotland's backline. However, his team farted through the second half, and that should be noted. Houston's number 15, Drew Wild, 2 tries, a drop goal, 18 carries for 140 meters rushing, and 4 clean breaks in Houston's dominant road win in Utah. And Sia Khaleesi, the Sharks' number 8 and captain, set up the first try, a great one with an amazing offload, scored the second try just before the half, had 35 tough meters on 6 carries in 56 minutes. Mike, who's your candidate?
I'm going for the man, number 15, Drew Wild. Houston winning on the road in Utah is that nobody saw that coming, first and foremost. But then to deliver like he did with his stats, he's the man.
John.
Matt, if Good were here, like right here, you would be over here. Like you'd be that way. Good here, you'd be over there.
But why? Why?
Because during the break, we had to tell you that you're recording and your microphone was on.
You can't prove that.
Like a little child, we had to tell you.
You can't prove that.
A man is getting his hair done. Coach Friday is just a legend. He didn't maybe dealing with minutia like this. And they're having to tell you, by the way, your microphone's actually on. Well done, little boy.
You can't prove that. And who's your nominee? You going with Mike Friday's nominee?
I just answered it. That's why I was trying to tell you that if Good were here, like right here, you're over there.
All right, you're very close to getting muted again.
I'm going with Drew Wild. I'm with Coach Friday.
Gift, who's your candidate?
If it was any other moment, I would say Blair Kinghorn. I love what he does in Scotland, even better off the field. But I got to stick with my guy, Sia Khaleesi. All right? I don't care what it is. Anytime he does anything, it's amazingness. Especially because you want to hate on him for playing for 56 minutes. Give it to Sia. Despite you, man.
56 minutes isn't a lot out of 80 in terms of player of the week.
See, always hating. Always finding a
way to troll. Always a troll.
And
it was hot there as well. It was hot.
And John and Mike picked Drew Wild. So who am I not to pick Drew Wild? And if I pick Sia Khaleesi, it's going to be a tie. So what I'm going to do
here... You finally understand what a tie is in this situation.
I'm going to pick Blair Kinghorn. I'm picking Blair Kinghorn, which leaves Drew Wild as our player of the week. And that allows us to move right along to our next segment.
Grown-ass
The nominees are Mornay Vandenberg, the number 9 of the Lions. The scrum half had relentless work on offense and disregard for his body defensively. He was also man of the match in the loss to the Sharks. San Diego's number 7, Brad Wilkins, sorry, but for the second week in a row, the league leader in tackles proved worthy, bleeding Legion red throughout and keeping San Diego from handing the match back to LA, who insisted on handing the match over finally. Last but not least, Miracle by Ilagi. Moana Pasifika's 6'6", 230-pound number 6 scored his team's first ever hat trick in their epic win over the Hurricanes at North Harbor Stadium. Mike.
There's only one man this week, and that's the Miracle. When you're that big and you get over for 3 against the Hurricanes, he's my man. So, the Miracle.
John, he's your size, and he would kick your ass.
I'm 58 years old. I'm 8 years over. I'm 8 years over half 100.
You see Sylvester Stallone?
I would hope that any professional athlete could kick my ass. I'm 4 decades and 2 years from 100.
Who's your pick? Miracle?
I'm not. Yes, of course I'm going with Miracle. I'm not going with a guy who lost the game.
Gift.
Following the champ like as well and Mike, because we don't vote for losers. All right, Miracle with Moana Pasifika triple. Come on now. All right, come on now.
And I'm going with Mornay Vandenberg just to be different because he played one heck of a match and looked like a battering ram hitting a wall after that match. But hey, Miracle by Ilagi
is this week's grown-ass man.
Hey, would you like that iconic pic of Muhammad Ali standing over Sonny Liston, go, Liston's my man of the match?
No, I wouldn't. But on that note, we have to take a quick break, go to George, and then come back to you guys for our picks after this.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And now for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. Always expect the unexpected when Seattle and New England go at it. And Saturday night's battle for the beans, coffee beans, had 2 separate plays that were combining as one. Devon Rousseau's stunning restart steal for a try off the New England dropped kick, followed by Simon Peter Toliafoa, who dropped that kick, snatching up the ricocheted restart for a shocking return, the favored try. And that is your Major League Rugby plays of the week. Brought to you by the Rugby Network. And we're back, and we're welcoming in Mr. George Hook once again. George, great to see you. What news, George?
Obviously, Ireland not very happy this weekend, but there's a story about that, I think.
And we're going to get to that story and more with our recurring segment,
Headlines with Hook.
The first headline, Blair Murray's try. They took it away, George.
The first thing is the law is clear. You cannot jump over a tackler. So that's the law. But the law, to put it in straight at the scrummage, exists, and nobody pays a blind bit of attention to it. As an international referee said to me this weekend, jumping over a tackler is more honoured in the breach than the observance. I think it was a bad example of the TMO because I'm not sure whether, in fact, your man would have made a tackle. I think he would have missed him anyway. But the point was, it was such a magnificent try, such a magnificent Welsh fight back that it rather left a sour taste in the mouth. I would have said it wasn't a great decision. But TMOs have not been making great decisions since they were invented.
I was watching with fans at the Pig and Whistle, and some of them were new fans to the game, and they could not understand taking that try away from that athletic, great play.
With the greatest respect to new American devotees of the game, you've got to understand there is a law.
All right, but, there are laws that we ignore in rugby, like, feeding.
Correct. I'm with you. Like,
feeding the hooker, the line out.
Why push an open door? I'm agreeing with you. What more do you want?
I just wanted to hear that. That's all I wanted to hear. The next headline up, Dupont's clear out, George.
Because it's Dupont, it means that next weekend's Six Nations Championship is Hamlet without the Prince. I mean, that's the key thing. Therefore, I think Fabien Galtier was wrong, but I can understand his frustration at losing the best player in the world. The clear-out is a problem because every single week now we see people taking people out in a supposed clear-out, and they are clearing out players who are part of the ruck, but they're not involved in the ruck, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Normally, if you have the ball in your hand, you'd say, there's a tackle coming here, I better be prepared for it. If you're on the edge of a rock, you're not prepared for that.
Right.
Clear-out's a problem. I had a certain sympathy for Galtier. I thought that Irish clear-out was pretty enthusiastic. I mean, let's put it that way.
Agreed. A second time in a row we're agreeing with each other. Who knew? The next headline up, England's game plan. What did you think of it?
Well, I was astonished. I mean, I was appalled last week. Last week, scrum half kicks the ball every single time he gets the ball. This week, they actually tried to play rugby, against a team who I think are underrated, namely Italy. Italy have conceded the best part of 120 points now in 2 games. I think that's a bit unkind. They're better than that. The try by the number 8, the Italian number 8, was simply magnificent.
Yeah.
But England played rugby. And 2 key things here. You either like Marcus Smith or you don't. I'm not a Marcus Smith fan. But to be fair, he delivered a very good performance. But Eliot Daly, now there's one for you. I think Daly has made a late charge for the Lions tour to Australia. I thought he was very good. I'm sorry again for Lawrence. He's going to miss next week. Nobody near him. He literally fell over. Tragic. The Six Nations Championship going to the final weekend with 3 teams in contention. That makes for a pretty exciting tournament. The collateral damage, I have to tell you, the media have now come up, or did come up, for Ireland, proposing that they would have a 3-peat. What in the name of all that is good and holy is a 3-peat?
You got to pay attention to the times, George. 3-peats all over the place. We have it here in the
No.
Major League Rugby. We're going to have a 3-peat with the New England Free Jacks.
Stop. I challenge you here. The only people who massacre the English language on a weekly basis are Americans.
Cockney is an assassination of the English language.
Look, let's not go there. 3-peats, no. They're banned on headlines with hook. 3-peats banned.
All right. 3-peats, no. Last headline, George. Which Scotland will show up against which friend?
I honestly don't know. They had the game over and done. And were it not for the interesting decision with Blair Murray, they might well have lost the game. They now go to France. France are going to win. But, in a way, you kind of like Scotland because you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you were Scottish, you'd like some element of consistency.
And I liked the post-game interview with Finn Russell, who was not happy with the second half performance. So maybe we'll see some magic out of Scotland, and that really makes that game even more exciting to watch. But we're out of time in this
Headlines with Hook.
Thank you, George Hook.
Pleasure.
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
And we're back, and we have to make some picks, and we have 6 nations ahead of us. Ireland in Rome, favored by 20.5 points, Mike.
Yeah, I think it's a bit high scoring game, but I think Ireland will do a job on Italy, and I I do think that they'll get more than the 20.5.
Gift.
Yeah, Italy already won what they needed to win. I think Ireland gets this 20.5. They got to get revenge for being absolutely blown out yet last week.
John.
Yep, Ireland's coming in hot, and Italy, I agree with King. They've already got what they wanted, and they know they're not going to win this game. I think they've already checked it in.
I'm crazy, but I'm going to pick Wales. I'm going to take Wales with the 10.5. Oh, I'm jumping ahead. I'm going to.
What?
I'm going to. Oh, my kingdom to have that moment back. I'm going with Ireland as well.
If anybody else had done that, he'd put it on the highlights. He'd put it on his TikTok. He put it for him, but for him, it'd be deep sixth.
In the next match, we have Wales welcoming in England, 10.5 points. Mike.
I'm going to take Wales. I think England might win, but I don't think they're going to win by 10.5. I think Wales are due one, and this is the form book's irrelevant when it's Wales England in the millennium.
Are you going to have to wear a nose and glasses walking around your neighborhood?
I might have to go find out incognito.
Down with the clown.
Oh, it was just a matter of time. It was just a matter of time. John, you might as well follow that.
This is a great line, a really good line. I think England's probably going to cover this, but I would not bet this game. I would not be surprised if Mike's right that England wins but doesn't cover. But if I'm leaning somewhere, I go England to cover.
Gift.
Yeah, knowing that it's statistically impossible for England, improbable for England to be able to win, I think they're playing a lot of their backups in this game. I do think they covered the 10.5 points. I think they're going to allow the starters to play for maybe a part of the first half, but I think England covers it.
Come on, Wales. Let's go, Wales. I'm going with the Welsh. And then in the final match, France hosting Scotland. 17.5 points. The French are favorites without Dupont, Mike.
Yeah, and I think France are going to do a proper job on Scotland. Scotland haven't played for 80 minutes, practically the whole tournament. So I just think France are big, and then they get even bigger when they'll go 7-1 split again, I think, or a 6-2. And they'll roll on again, and they'll powerhouse Scotland off the game. I think France win, and they win well again.
Yeah, and as George just said in the previous segment, we always say which France is going to show up, but which Scotland's going to show up. Are they going to play 80 minutes or are they going to play 40 minutes? John.
Yeah, I'm with Coach Friday. I don't think Scotland has not looked good this Six Nations. I was very disappointed in them, but they had a game they should have won against England. And give me France. I think France they're looking to cash in and win the Six Nations. They sense victory. I think they're just going to boat race them.
Well, you've had, so far up Mike's ass this entire show, picking all his picks.
He's a legendary coach. He's coached in 3 Olympics.
The Hall of Famer right there.
He's a Hall of Famer, and why would we not put him over? You, on the other hand, we want 2 cents rugby.
Gift.
Yeah, look, I think France senses blood in the water, but ironically, I think this is the worst position for both teams. Scotland, I think, usually gets about their yips and starts to give up. France usually gets lazy about this time. So honestly, I think France is still going to cover, but it's going to be like at 18 points exactly. They will not win as well as they should. They will not play as well as they should.
Okay. Well, I'm going by Finn Russell's post-game interview, and he was not the smiling Finn Russell that he normally is. He was pissed off. I think they come play hard. I think Scotland gives France all they can handle. So I'm going with Scotland. Let's move over to this side of the pond now and go to the MLR, guys. Chicago. -6 versus DC. Who likes that match?
That's me. I'm taking Chicago. I think they're hot right now, home or away, and I think they're flying. I think they'll do a proper job on DC.
Gift.
There's one team that needs this so badly, and that's New England. Coming off as a champ, they are not looking like it, but they're at home for the first game. They always have a great crowd there. NOLA has the worst position to be in right now. -4. New England's going to cover that one. Even though I think NOLA could play him well, but they'll cover it.
John.
Give me the Mountain Boys, the Mountain Men going down to South Beach. I believe that they're going to boat ride. They're going to score 100 points total in this game. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Give me Utah to beat Miami.
And I'm going to go with the LA versus Seattle match. Seattle road favorites -4. LA's beaten up. They've got guys with red cards that are going to miss the game. I'm going with Seattle in this one. We got to take a break. We'll be back with Super Rugby and our picks of the week after this. From New York City comes America's longest running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time.
Oh, fella oi.
And we are back, and we're back with our Super Rugby picks. Mike Friday, why don't you get us started?
Right, I'm going to go for the Chiefs over the Blues. I think they'll cover the 7.5. I think the Chiefs are too good for the Blues, who are in need of a win, but I don't think this is the week.
More Blues for the Blues after that heartbreaking loss versus the Brumbies last week. John, who do you like?
I don't watch Super Rugby. It comes on late at night. I'd rather sit up and watch cartoons than watch Super Rugby. I don't know. Western Force.
Good pick for somebody that just watches cartoons.
I don't watch cartoons. That's the point. I would rather watch cartoons when staying up late at night than stay up all night to watch rugby, because it comes on at midnight here, so we don't watch it.
Gone terribly wrong. Okay, all right. Gift.
I'm looking quickly over at Fijian Drua taking on the Brumbies. Drua had a great game last week. Back-breaking deal, make it all go. But this is going to be a letdown week for the Drua. Look for the Brumbies to cover versus the Drua.
And I'm going to take the Waratahs against the Reds. And on that note, it's time for John's favorite segment, Picks of the Week. Johnny, who do you like?
Yeah, Maddie. I'll pick my picks of the week, Maddie. Well, you sit in your car trying to avoid a parking ticket every freaking 2 days. I tell you who I like. Here's Utah and Miami do not play defense, but they score tons of points. The over is going to be 53, 54 when it comes out probably. It could be 80. I think I would still take the over. These guys, I believe, are going to score a ton of points. They have not played defense up till now. I don't see why they would. They both can score. Give me the over. My best pick of the week.
Gift.
I'm looking at Chicago taking on DC at home. DC played a horrible game against the Anthem, playing them way closer than they should. DC has a tendency to play to their competition. Look for DC's defense to be able to step it up. I look at Chicago to win this game, but DC to cover. Let's go.
Mike.
I'm going to go for the overs on the Ireland-Italy game. I think there's going to be lots of points scored. I think both are going to go all-out attack. Ireland obviously damaged after last week, and Italy they want to chuck it about. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's about 46, 47. I think we're going to score well over that.
I'm going to take a page from your book, Coach, because I'm going to stay with the over in the Six Nations for the France versus Scotland match. And on that note, we're out of time. So I want to thank John Bradshaw Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu getting his hair done in Brazil, Mike Friday, the Olympic Sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out our other shows, including MLR Weekly. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. And please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.